Hello to everyone and welcome to today's Ethical Hacker virtual event. My name is Tanner Swift and I'll be your host for today's session. I'm excited to introduce some incredible speakers for you today, but before I hand the mic over to our presenters, we do have a few housekeeping items to cover about this presentation. Today's virtual event will be recorded and made available on demand after the live session. The playback will also be available on YouTube for rewatch as well. We will provide you with some further details at the end of today's event. Also, we'd like to hear from you during today's presentation. During the session, if you have any questions for our presenters, you can submit them via Slido, where we will answer your questions live or during the Q&A portion of today's event. We will also have some poll questions for you to participate in today as well. So as to what we will cover today during this event, we are going to map out the Ethical Hacker program for you. We'll also discuss the Cisco Networking Academy's Ethical Hacker course. We'll examine the Capture the Flag blueprint and also break down the Cisco U and Capture the Flag ethical hacker missions. And we'll also provide some more insights on how you can earn your certificate in ethical hacking. As mentioned a moment ago, we'd love to hear from you during today's session. You can use the following QR code or any of the Join Q&A QR codes during the presentation to answer some poll questions that we'd love for you to participate in via Slido. You can start by letting us know, what word do you think of when you hear ethical hacker? Also, we'd love to know where you're tuning in from with us today. And you can also let us know what areas of ethical hacker interest you the most. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker and kick things off by welcoming Garrett. Garrett, right over to you.
Hey, thanks. Thank you, Tanner, for that introduction. Like Tanner said, my name is Garrett Marling, and I'm a business architecture manager with Learning at Cisco. I am so excited to be here with my esteemed co-panelists, Joseph Janitor and Kate Dignan. We have been working on this for a long time, and we can't wait to tell you all about the new Cisco Certificate in Ethical Hacking. So with that said, let's meet Joseph Janitor. Joseph.
Thank you, Garrett.
Hi, Joseph. Joseph is a product manager with Cisco Networking Academy and one of my favorite collaborators on this new program. Hello, Joseph.
Hello. Hey, Garrett. And hello, everybody.
I understand you're here to cover a couple of our agenda items, beginning with a program overview. Would you like to take the reins?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and welcome, everyone. Before I jump into the specifics of the new Cisco Certificate in Ethical Hacking program, let me start just with a quick introduction of why this is highly relevant for anybody interested in cybersecurity. And well, if you think about it, in our digitally interconnected world today, cybersecurity has really moved to the forefront because it's impacting organizations, governments, and individuals, and hence creating the necessity for protecting our data, our systems, and also our way of living. With cyber threats growing not only in numbers, but also in sophistication, now together with AI, the question isn't if we will be attacked, but when and how we are prepared to respond. So you might be asking, what is the best defense? And in my view, it is the team of well-trained, highly skilled cybersecurity professionals who protect our digital life. That's where our focus should be, in order to prepare for, defend against, and overcome cyber threats and cyber criminals. And in our existing cybersecurity efforts, much attention is already paid to the defensive side, the so-called blue team. These professionals are the backbone of our defense. Think about them as the security engineers, crafting secure infrastructure, managing firewalls, or setting up multi-factor authentication in your organizations. Or think about the security operations center analysts, the SOC analysts, monitoring events and evaluating various telemetry sources, ready to counteract any suspicious activity to quickly identify and respond to those breaches. But then there is yet another side to a successful overarching defense strategy, and that's the red team. These are the offensive security professionals like ethical hackers and penetration testers who think like attackers in order to help us proactively discover and mitigate vulnerabilities and weaknesses before they are exploited by their threat actors and criminals. And it's their expertise that allows us to be always at least one step ahead, making sure that our defenses are not only reactive, but are rather proactive. And by working together, the red and blue teams form a dynamic defense force that is always proactively adapting to the constantly evolving landscape of the new cybersecurity threats. And that brings me to something that I'm truly excited to share with you all, our new Cisco Certificate in Ethical Hacking program. This new comprehensive certificate program is designed for you to learn, practice, enhance, and then validate your offensive security skills with real-world series of capture the flag type challenges. And it's applicable to you whether you are already deep in your cybersecurity career as an existing cybersecurity professional who is maybe looking to enhance their experience or demonstrate their proficiency in this high demand offensive security area, or maybe you are just starting out or right now looking to pivot into this critical field and want to add an offensive security certification to your other cybersecurity credentials. And as you will engage with this program, you will gain the practical skills to tackle the challenges that organizations face today and also tomorrow. You will elevate your cybersecurity career to the next level by mastering the tactics, techniques, and procedures used by the threat actors to, in your case, proactively discover and mitigate vulnerabilities and weaknesses in your organization. And just to call out some supporting data, there's already a global shortage of 4 million cybersecurity professionals globally. Specifically, the demand for roles like penetration testers is expected to grow by 31% over the next decade. And employers are moving towards skills-based hiring. And a Cisco Certificate in Ethical Hacking, among other cyber credentials on your resume, could be your gateway to a new or better job. And do you know what is the best part of this certificate program? It includes free training using our Ethical Hacker course on the nethack.com platform. So, as a step number one, enroll to the course and immerse yourself in the hands-on activities to practice the use of offensive security tools. That's step one. After completing the course, you will get a course completion badge, and this badge will also unlock your step number two, that is a special hands-on skill validation using a quarterly released new Capture the Flag challenge on the Cisco U platform that Kate is going to demo in details just in a few minutes. By successfully completing the CTF challenge, you will get to the final step number three, that is updating your professional resume to stand out and together with other cyber credentials, highlight your comprehensive cybersecurity skill set that helps organizations increase their cybersecurity resiliency. So let's start at the beginning. The Ethical Hacker course, a foundational part of earning your Cisco Certificate in Ethical Hacking. It spans approximately about 70 hours and includes all the content, the hands-on lab activities, practice quizzes, and more. This course is your first step toward mastering your offensive security skills, and you can enroll to it on nethack.com for free. One of the most engaging parts of this course is actually its interactive, story-driven approach. You will step into the shoes of a junior penetration tester working for a fictional penetration testing as a service company called Protego. And guess what is your mission? Your mission is to assess the security of Pixel Paradise, yet another fictional company in this gamified storyline. And alongside your virtual mentor and manager, Alex, you will navigate through an end-to-end pen testing engagement, including all the steps: planning and scoping the assessment, gathering information and the actual vulnerability scanning, social engineering attacks, exploiting wired and wireless networks and application-based vulnerabilities, cloud, mobile, IoT, as well as the very important reporting and communication component of any such engagement. And it's really not just all theory. you will get your hands dirty using our custom-built Kali Linux virtual machine that you can download and use directly on your computer. This safe, controlled environment is very well practiced using real-world tools, your offensive security skill set, and build and use the virtual networks and systems that are also simulating vulnerabilities. And by the way, if you're on a Mac with the MCPUs, this VM will also work on your computer. And overall, I believe that these hands-on lab experiences are the most exciting part of this journey. So instead of just talking about the course, let me show you what this course experience actually looks like in action. So let me dive right into the Ethical Hacker course on my other screen on my computer. So as I mentioned before, you can find this course on the Cisco Network Academy's netacad.com portal. Just click here on the Catalog Explore menu, go down to the cybersecurity subject area, and there is the Ethical Hacker course. Once you resume or enroll into the course, you will enter directly the course landing page. And I already did that. And in my case, it seems that I'm already covering the module 3 that is about information gathering and vulnerability scanning. And right now I'm at the performing active reconnaissance page. So let me scroll down what we can find here. Here we have Alex, our virtual mentor. And Alex is giving us instructions that, hey, as part of this engagement, now we are going to be doing an active reconnaissance in this fictional Pixel Paradise organization, and we will be scanning their internal network. Their internal network, of course, consists of multiple devices, like with any organization nowadays. There are the traditional endpoints. There are the facility-related endpoints, like the surveillance cameras, climate control sensors and actuators, and more. There are the intermediary devices, like the traditional routers and switches from the networking world, but there are also wireless access points, firewalls, servers, and like any organization nowadays, they also have their own cloud infrastructure. So as we are scrolling through down this learning content, we are being told like what is active reconnaissance, how it differs from passive reconnaissance, and we are going to learn about various tools like Nmap and others that enable us to perform this active scanning over a network infrastructure. In the beginning, we are going to go through only the basics, but as we are going through this content, we are also going to learn about the various additional options that enable you to fine-tune your Nmap scanning mechanism to be more proactive and discover other systems in the infrastructure. As we are going through, we are going to learn more information. There are also references to additional content that you might want to review. And the cool part of this content is that it's also threaded with practice activities in form of quizzes. And these quizzes are amazing because they also come with feedback, constructive feedback that is also enabling you to learn more just by taking these quizzes. So now let me actually scroll down directly maybe to the most exciting part of the course, and that is, of course, the hands-on lab activities. So there is a lab activity called enumeration with Nmap. Alex is again giving us background information like how we are using this tool to discover some of the endpoints and their vulnerabilities in the Protegos network infrastructure. And let me launch the actual lab activity. So the lab activity starts with an overview of the network infrastructure of Pixel Paradise. And we see that this looks like kind of like a normal network infrastructure. There are some routers, there are some VLANs, there's some firewalls, DMZ, and other parts of that infrastructure. So as we're going through, we can learn about the objectives of this lab activity. We see that, hey, this time we will need to use our Kali Linux virtual machine. And within that Kali Linux virtual machine, we are going to be interacting primarily with the Nmap tool in this lab activity. So the first thing that we are going to do is just use the basic Nmap commands to validate, hey, what version of Nmap do I have installed on this system? What are some of the features enabled in this one? As we are going through, we are going to also explore some of the additional options that you can use with Nmap. And these are also elements where you can practice your skills and existing experience with some of these options using these quizzes that are built in also in the lab activities. As you are scrolling through, you are going to see more and more advanced uses of these options as you are scanning through the virtual network that is within your Kali Linux virtual machine. And I wanted to kind of like scroll down here and also highlight some of the very cool functionalities of Nmap. That is the scripting language, the scripting capabilities in it. So with Nmap, you are not only able to discover some open ports and services on the endpoints, but you're also able to leverage a scripting mechanism within the Nmap tool to go beyond the traditional discovery. Now, let me show you how it works. So in this segment here, we are asked to execute the Nmap command to scan the 10.6.6.23 host on the ports that are traditionally connected with some Windows machines with file sharing services. And we are also going to be executing, as part of the scanning process, the SMB enum users.nse script. So let me fire up my Kali Linux virtual machine. Now, of course, I need to log in. And here I have my terminal running. And just to kind of like save time, I will copy paste the command that I have copy pasted from the lab. And let's see what happens. So this results in an Nmap scan that was targeting this endpoint. It seems that it's literally running some Microsoft file sharing services. But moreover than just discovering those services, this time we also discovered, thanks to that script, that there are some usernames active on that host. There is a username called Arbiter and Master Chief. And these are the elements that you as a penetration tester, you can use in the remaining part of your pen testing engagements. Maybe you can try to discover what are some of the weak passwords that are used with these usernames, and with that you can gain additional access to that infrastructure. And by the way, many of that virtual networks and the vulnerable application that are simulated within this virtual machine are running as Docker containers. So if you want to just kind of like review what are the different tools that are available to you within the virtual machine, just type in Docker PS. And you will see all the virtual machines that are, or all the Docker containers that are running within this virtual machine. I will just call out a few of them, like the Juice Shop, Gravemind. There is also Metasploitable 2, and many others. So if you are familiar with some of these tools, I think it creates a lot of excitement for some of the hands-on activities that you can be performing within this virtual lab environment. And I really believe that these labs are the most exciting and the coolest part of the entire learning experience. So I'm excited to see how you are going through and taking many of these lab activities. And with that, let me now switch back to my slides to close up my section with an actual overview of the Capture the Flag blueprint. So, the Capture the Flag blueprint defines the skills assessment topics that you will need to pass in the CTF assessment, in the CTF challenge, in order to get your Cisco certificate in ethical hacking. And the specific domains that you are going to be assessed upon are the following. The first domain is going to be the information gathering and reconnaissance. And this domain is really about assessing your skills of using some, for example, OSINT tools, open source intelligence tools, to gather information about the target, or using other active reconnaissance tools to get more information and more intelligence about the target. An example of that could be, for example, that Nmap tool that we have been just reviewing in the lab activity before. The second domain is the vulnerability scanning and analysis. And this is about validating your skills of using the actual tools and techniques to discover vulnerabilities across endpoints and systems. The third domain, exploitation and post-exploitation. This is really about getting access to the systems by exploiting those vulnerabilities, a really exciting one. Moving on to the fourth one, the reporting and mitigation domain. This is really about your skills to effectively communicate your findings with the blue team, because they are in collaboration with you mitigating the discovered weaknesses and vulnerabilities ASAP. And lastly, the fifth domain, scripting and code analysis. This is really about how you can scale your engagement by automating some of the pen testing activities that you are normally performing, maybe manually. Well, and I believe this brings me to the end of my section. I hope this was a helpful insight into our new Cisco Certificate in Ethical Hacking program, its main components, the learning journey, the labs, as well as this quick review of the scope for the skills assessment using the Capture the Flag challenges. And so with that, thank you all. And Garrett, back to you.
Thank you so much for all of that, Joseph. We really appreciate you taking us through the program. So for now, we will say goodbye to you and look forward to seeing you again at the Q&A. Now, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our very own Kate Dignan, a product manager for Cisco U. Kate, I'm so glad you were able to join us. I hear you have quite the walkthrough prepared. Can you show us what this experience is like in Cisco U?
I hope so. I am excited to give you guys the demo. Joseph is a tough act to follow, but with that kind of enthusiasm, how can you not want to build a really great experience in Cisco U? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick off the demo. If we can go ahead and just flip over my screen. No slides for you all. You all are going to get a live experience today. Just because I always find that learning by doing is always the best way to go about things, which is exactly why we partnered with Joseph and team, because the Ethical Hacker course in Networking Academy, while extremely robust, as we just discussed, we want you to be able to implement those skills in a safe learning environment so that should an occasion ever occur where you need to employ them, you feel competent to do so. So let me just give you a little walkthrough, because I know there's some people on this call who maybe do not have familiarity with the platform I've helped to build, which is Cisco U. Cisco U is a product that has been built to kind of be the next stage in your kind of learning flywheel, if you will. Cisco U is a product that offers content such as learning paths, tutorials, podcasts, videos. We got it all. You want it, we got it. And we have it at different price points. We understand that some people may only be interested in a freemium experience. There is single title purchase options, as well as getting a subscription to get you entirely through the year. So I'm just going to give you the really high level here. This is the landing page you hit if you just type in u.cisco.com. For those of you who maybe do not have a CCO ID, to log into this experience, you can see up here, it calls it out, log in with your Cisco ID. It's a very simple process to create one, not a hard thing to do. And once you're in there, you have access to all of the content that you would like to consume. As you can see right here, we call out that it is free. I've already got it logged in at this time. I have a test profile. My full name is not Store Test User, in case you were wondering. But I'm here again, and I'm excited to be back in Cisco U in this fictional experience. And I'm just going to talk you through a few of the different ways that you're going to find the CTF, the Capture the Flag, and how you can interact with it. Now, like Joseph said, when you complete your Ethical Hacker course in Cisco Networking Academy, that is step one of a two-step process to obtain your certificate. So in order to leverage the Capture the Flag options here in Cisco U, you need to make sure you take care of that step first, because you won't get very far if you don't. Now, that's not to say there's not tons of awesome stuff for you to consume, but we're assuming that in this use case, you are here to get this done and get that certification. So I'm going to just kind of quickly toggle you through the experience on how to confirm that you completed the prereq and how to jump right into the CTF. We will go into the CTF environment. I won't be showing you the questions or giving you any answers, but I will show you what that experience looks like so you can be ready and prepared for what's ahead. So in this use case, I have just kind of added a few things to the My Learning section for you as kind of the front room that you walk into when you get into Cisco U. It's a personalized experience. If it's your first time in here, you actually will first encounter an interest survey that just asks you what your level is, what your topics of interest are. If you're looking to complete a certification, you don't have to answer any of the questions. If you want to, it does personalize the recommendations for you. And there's a lot of content on here, so I do recommend it. But certainly if you don't feel like giving that information away, don't feel like you have to. So in this use case, I've added a few things into my learning queue, and that's just by this simple bookmark icon. If you've used probably any of the streaming features out there right now, you're familiar with the concept of bookmarking. You click the bookmark, it lands in your queue, and then you consume it at whatever rate you feel is ready. One thing I would recommend for those that are brand new to Cisco U, and it's not just because I am the author of them, but there are Cisco U 101 tutorials to get you familiar with the environment. I'd like to think that we've done a good enough job that you don't need a tutorial, but hey, we are here to help you navigate Cisco U and get the most out of it while you're here. So what I'm going to do, all that aside, is take you to why you're actually here. We're going to come down to the challenges, and you can see we have 2 of them in here right now. Now, just a couple things to make sure that we make you aware of. Challenges are only up quarterly. You can see here, and you'll see it again when we click into it, there's a deadline on how long these challenges are actually available on Cisco U before they kind of end of sale. And by that, I mean, if you purchase the content, you have access to the content for an additional 90 days from date of purchase. So I purchased this DNS event challenge. There's 2 of them, as you saw in the previous screen. So you can see here, this is how long it's going to be available on Cisco U. If you buy this event, DNS event challenge, on January 5th, the day before it expires, and you super duper love it, you thought it was great, it was awesome, and you tell your coworker on January 8th they should search for this and buy it, sorry, it's gone. So there is a little bit of a sense of urgency to it. Certainly once you buy it on January 5th, you've got 90 days to complete it. So it's not like you got to sit down and grind through it right away. We understand you all have busy lives. We all have about 1,000 tabs open at any one time. So it's very easy to forget that, hey, I think I still have something in Cisco U I need to do. So that's just kind of my heads up to you. It's also written into the terms and conditions when you make the purchase that says you got it for 90 days. It's in your proof of purchase option. It's in your invoice, but always want to call that out so everybody's super clear on what it means when you purchase a challenge. So for the DNS event, you can see we give you the high level. What are you here doing? What's the point of this? What's the description? What's the objectives? Hey, if you forgot your prereq and you come in here cold, I will say you will not have this beautiful blue launch challenge button. It will actually not allow you to buy the challenge, much less launch it. And it'll remind you, hey, go back to Ethical Hacker, complete that, come back over to us, and we'll be happy to help you. Now, the big question I had when I was brought onto this project was, we got 2 super awesome systems here. And I don't say that because I am the product manager of Cisco U, but I got to say it. How do we make these 2 systems talk to each other? How do I do this thing over here and then come over here and have it know that I've done it? Well, funny thing about that, when you complete the Ethical Hacker course in Networking Academy, you get this super awesome Credly badge, and it'll show up. And that's how we say in our side, oh, they've done the prereq, they're good to go, they can make the purchase. If this doesn't roll over, there are instructions that'll tell you how to make sure that your Credly account syncs up. And certainly if that's still not working, there's always the good old help and support button, and you can file a ticket with us and we'll work with you to get it resolved. Now, all that said, let's go back to where I was and let's go ahead and dig into what the actual challenge looks like. So here we are for the DNS event. I'm ready to go. I'm fired up. Let's do this thing. And now I'm going to be moved over into the capture the flag environment. Now, for those of you who maybe do CTFs all the time, you go to Cisco Live, or you've been to a Cisco Live, or you've heard of the CTF environment, and you've done a bunch of challenges. Special thing here, this is a special environment for the CTF within Cisco U. So even if you've done a bunch of challenges before, you are going to have to create your avatar and register again. It's a unique user journey, and it doesn't talk to the other user journeys for the capture the flag environment. In fact, if you've been in the other capture the flag environments, you'll notice there typically is a leaderboard up here. That is not part of this feature. When you purchase your Cisco U challenge, you can only purchase for yourself. And so there's really not a way to marry together a team experience. You can only buy one of these at a time, and you can only buy for yourself. So for those of you who maybe like need a boss to buy it for you, you're going to need to kind of figure out how to work that out. Just kind of like a use case might occur, might resonate. Just a heads up, when you go through the purchase experience, you'll just need to think that through. So back to the environment. Now, I bought the DNS event. I did not buy the other challenge. The DNS event is the only mission that will show up in the CTF. If I had bought both would appear here. So I'm going to go ahead and click into the DNS event. Now, as we saw here, we've got some copy, description, objectives, this high-level explainer of what you're here to do. The mission goes a little bit deeper to give you all of that information. And you can see here, there's the 4 steps that we definitely want to make sure that you're taking care of, the difficulty level, the mission author, and with both of the CTFs, the time to complete the challenge estimation is 45 minutes. Certainly, if you go longer, it's not like you're going to get dinged on it. It's just kind of, if you're trying to rough estimate how much time maybe I have to do this, look at that amount of time, maybe for some of us, double it. You will go into a lab environment, and this kind of walks you through how to connect, how to reserve your spot. We do have a bunch of labs available. You just wait in queue if there's not a spot available, but we haven't encountered that yet. There's a first time for everything, though. So just click to reserve your spot and hang 10. Once you get into the lab environment, you now have 11 missions, and I'm not going to click into them because I want you to find out when you get in there what it actually is. But you can start to see the missions. Now, I will say for both of these, mission 1, I can show you that because that just says, did you click connect to the lab environment? That one's an easy one, but make sure you do it, because if you don't do the first step and go through all the rest of the challenges, you still won't have passed it because you won't have all 11 flags. So the key is to come away with every flag obtained. And there are hints if you struggle with it. There's 2 hints, I believe, for every challenge. And you get a couple of attempts each time. And we let you know when you're starting to run out of attempts. So certainly there's a way to get through this. If you are struggling with the material, go back to the Network Academy material. Certainly look at the material provided in the lab and in the DNS challenge as it's written. And if you find that you're still really having a hard time, there are definitely ways to get in touch with us. There is a Get Support button in here, and you can fill out a report. I'm actually part of the team that gets those reports, so I will see those, and the help desk team will help me resolve them as I'm able to address them. So once you complete your mission, congratulations. It'll make sure you know that you've passed in here. Once you've completed your mission, what happens is CTF very politely kicks you out and says, thank you for your time. You're no longer needed here because you did what you came here to do. And you're going to be back here in the challenge again. And this button will now say challenge complete. And at that point, you can, give it a minute, because we live in a very instantaneous world, but not everything is quite instantaneous. And you will at that point have the badge from Cisco U that confirms that you have completed your CTF. And at that point, you will have closed the loop. Now, we're going to use the power of imagination here and pretend that I actually have this badge. But you will have completed it. And at that point, the 2 steps have been confirmed and completed. And at that point, we send the data to the certification team, who will issue you a certificate. And the certificate will come to you via email within 24 hours. And if we can, since there's really not a need for the power of imagination, because the awesome team here has done a good job of making sure that there's a slide that shows you the 2 badges and what they look like. There we go. Thank you so much. So this is what the badges actually look like. And like we said, if you want to do both, be a rock star, do both. You only have to do one, but like we said, and Joseph kind of already made sure to drive home, this landscape of ethical hacking is ever changing. So there's nothing wrong with doing both and staying sharp. When we move to the next quarter, so as you saw earlier, the challenge will be done January 6th. That next day, we will start our next round of challenges. And again, if somebody is watching this video 4 months from now, same rules apply. Do your first CTF, get your certificate. Thank you so much for your effort, and come back and see us again if you want to keep doing the challenges. Hopefully that was a fun and informative walkthrough of the CTF. I appreciate you all and your patience. And thank you. So I'm going to hand it back to my good buddy, Garrett. And Joseph, I'll see you in the room when we all get to hang out for Q&A. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. It is such a delight seeing this up and live on Cisco U. Very exciting. We'll say goodbye to you for now and see you again in just a minute for the Q&A. All right, we wanted to close out the talking head part of this webinar with a little bit of information about the career value proposition for the new Cisco Certificate in Ethical Hacking. This red team program we've created for you is well suited to supporting your cybersecurity career journey in combination with other blue team certifications. So whether you're starting out your journey, starting over, or taking the next step, we have a whole portfolio of Cisco and now Splunk certifications that are here to support you in your career development. And with that, I'd like to call our friend Tanner Swift back to talk us through some Learning at Cisco resources and then start the Q&A portion of today's event. Tanner, good to see you again. Over to you.
Good to see you as well, Garrett. Thank you so much to you, to Joseph and Kate for bringing your knowledge to the Cisco community today. Just a wonderful job. We're going to go over some resources today that you have direct access to. You can use the QR code that is on the slide in front of you, as well as the sign up for more info QR code as well. We'll have some resources where you can check out the Ethical Hacker Program site, get any questions that you would like answers during our FAQs, as well as the announcement blog for Ethical Hacker and much, much more. All that will be available to you on the Cisco Learning Network. And we have reached the Q&A portion of today's event. Just as a reminder for our attendees, you can use the QR code to access Slido to answer some poll questions that we have for you, as well as ask a question to our presenters today. We already have a slew of questions coming in, so feel free to whoever would like to tackle question number one. And I think question number one is just kind of clearing up maybe some confusion that some people might have. Jeremy asks, can you clarify, is this a certification or is it a certificate?
Well, I can take that one. This is a certificate, not a certification. And that's actually a new credential type that we haven't offered before. So unlike most of our certification options, which you have to renew on a regular schedule, this one, once earned, is yours forever.
Good. Great to know. Great to know. Hope that clears up some confusion for people that had that question. Another one that a lot of people are asking, I'd like to know the relevance of this certificate in regards to landing a entry-level job, or how does this set me apart from somebody else?
I guess I can take that one. Yeah, so if you think about the Cisco Certificate in Ethical Hacking as a way to gain some of those offensive security skills that are so important nowadays, so that they can help organizations to proactively discover the weaknesses and vulnerabilities before the threat actors do, in combination with other existing certificates that you might have in your existing portfolio, like maybe CyberOps Associate, CCNP Security, or some of the Splunk certifications. This should really help you get your fine new job. And I believe it will help you in your career.
Great. Thanks, Joseph. Another question here. What are the working tools for ethical hacking?
Yeah, I guess I can also take that one. So the working tools, as I was presenting in my section, we have a virtual machine with Kali Linux. That Kali Linux, we have customized it on our side. It comes with all the different tools that you will need to exploit the vulnerabilities that are actually simulated directly in the virtual machine. So you don't need to go anywhere else. Everything happens in that one secure environment. And if you want, we can actually go even beyond. So it's a normal Kali Linux virtual machine. You can extend it, like if you were downloading it directly from the Kali Linux website. But our version comes also with those additional customizations, with those Docker containers, plus additional challenges that our team has baked in. So feel free to go beyond, but definitely go through all the Answer Lab activities that are also part of the course.
And just a follow-up question to the one a moment ago about how this certificate can set me apart. How about adding value specifically to like a security engineer position?
Absolutely. If you're thinking about your role as a security engineer, let's say that security engineer that has been working so far with firewalls, maybe setting up multi-factor authentication, VPNs, and things like that. You are working very much on the defensive side, on bringing in those security controls into the infrastructure. But I think it can help you to understand how the real-world threat actors, those hackers, the cybersecurity criminals, actually use some of the techniques and procedures to get access to the infrastructure that you are trying to protect. So by understanding their mindset, understanding how they actually work, understanding also not only these techniques in discovering network vulnerabilities, but also understanding some of the social engineering attacks, phishing attacks. I think it's going to help you be much more well equipped with understanding of what additional defensive forces and defensive controls you might want to actually implement in your infrastructure.
Great, thank you, Joseph. You all will be happy to know that many people have already started on the courses and have started on the Capture the Flag. I believe some people have even completed both. So this question comes in and says, okay, after Ethical Hacker, I've gotten this certificate, what's next for me?
Man, I don't even know. I think the world is your oyster. I'm sure Joseph has some pretty specific ideas, but I would say if you've completed the CTF, my first question would be, did you do both? If you want to do both. You don't have to, as I've iterated multiple times. I would say the things that are most heavily consumed on Cisco U that are free content are things like our podcasts and tutorials. Those are very popular, certainly welcoming of a lot of different learning types. But certainly if you feel like you want to take on a learning path or something towards certification on the CCNA and upwards side, I mean, there's several certifications beyond that. There are practice exams, there are learning paths, there are videos. It's just kind of, I mean, I think the last count we had, there was like 10,000 pieces of educational content on Cisco U. It's a lot. So I'll let Joseph talk about if he's got some specific recommendations though within the subject matter.
I'm not sure whether a specific recommendation. I would say that the offensive security area is definitely growing, like anything in cybersecurity on a daily basis. There are new techniques that are used by the criminals. What I would recommend is definitely joining some of the existing cybersecurity professionals on existing social media networks, or simply just come to our Cisco professional networks or communities, join them and start the conversation, engage with existing professionals, and stay up to date.
Thank you so much, Kate and Joseph. Here's another question, this one from Kyle. Does this certificate play into CyberOps or does it build off it?
I think you can actually take this certification in parallel. So if you're already studying for the CyberOps Associate certification, by combining your existing studies with the Cisco Certificate in ethical hacking, you are going to better understand those threat actors, how they are thinking, how they are gaining access to your infrastructure, how they're infiltrating, maybe not only using those technical skills, but using maybe the social engineering skills. So I think it's a super helpful combination together as you are gaining the red teaming skills, combining it with blue teaming skills with some of the existing, for example, CyberOps certifications or other certifications that are in this space.
Here's another question a couple people have asked. What if the time expires on me? Is there a retake?
Unfortunately, there is not. It is a 90-day window. So this is where we will be doing special marketing emails for those who have bought it. When you are nearing your expiry, we will remind you. But just try not to forget. We don't want you to eat $150 or $100 either. $100 is what? 5 Chipotle dinners? Come on. I mean, don't waste it. So I would say we will remind you but there is no retake. And that's true across all Cisco learning content. Where there is a deadline, it's use it or use it proposition. Sorry, friends.
All good. Thank you. Thank you. This next question comes from Oscar. This ethical hacker course, does it require any previous knowledge or other course to do?
Yeah, absolutely. The ethical hacker course and the skills that you are gaining within this course, the skills that you are getting assessed upon in the Cisco U environment with the capture the flag challenges, are expecting that you are coming into this learning journey with existing knowledge in the cybersecurity space. If you are brand new to the cybersecurity domain, I would highly recommend that you start with the stepping stone that brings you to a junior cybersecurity analyst type of role. That's kind of like a cybersecurity generalist role. You are going to understand many of the blue team defensive techniques and security controls, but you're also going to understand a little bit of those offensive security, red teaming activities. And this is actually something that is aligned also with our new CCST, Cisco CCST cybersecurity certification. And that's a wonderful stepping stone to anybody who would like to actually enter the world of cybersecurity. It's entry level, and again, a fantastic feature of the CCST cybersecurity certification is that the training is actually again for free. So if you want to kickstart your journey, or you have some friends that are interested in cybersecurity and are thinking of, hey, where should I start? Send them over to netaka.com, and over there they can find the junior cybersecurity analyst career path with all the content they need to succeed in this field and kickstart their journey, get to their CCST cybersecurity certification, and then the sky's the limit.
I'll keep you right there with the cybersecurity mentioned, Joseph. What is the big difference, would you say, between ethical hacking and cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity is the specific domain where we are trying to protect our digital assets. And ethical hacking is a skill set where you are trying to identify or use some of the techniques that real-world cybersecurity criminals would use to exploit vulnerabilities and weaknesses in your infrastructure. I would add to it that it's not only those technical skills. As I was reviewing, for example, the CTF blueprint, it also includes, for example, elements that are about reporting and communication. And those are very important aspects of any penetration testing engagements. There are also some legal aspects. In order to understand how you can scope a penetration testing engagement within your organization, you also need to understand maybe what are those legal boundaries, so that you as a good person, as a penetration tester, ethical hacker, you won't get into troubles when you are trying to scan an organization's infrastructure. And on top of that, going beyond those technical skills, as already mentioned, the red teaming activities, ethical hacking, penetration testing, this can go beyond the digital world, also to the physical world. So think about social engineering attacks. Think about phishing. Think about leaving USB keys just down on the street, and people picking them up, connecting those USB sticks to their computer, and suddenly, oh, you are in their infrastructure. So it's a really comprehensive world. And of course, our Cisco certificate in ethical hacking might not get you to those expert professional levels, but I feel that it's an amazing way to kickstart your journey also into this offensive security space.
Thanks so much, Joseph. Really appreciate it. Let's see here. This next question, we have time for a few more. I come from a Cisco collaboration background, but I've been wanting to pick up cybersecurity. Do I need to take that introduction to cybersecurity course on NetAcad before I do this ethical hacker course?
If you're brand new to cybersecurity, I would highly recommend to at least skim through, review the junior cybersecurity analyst career path. It starts with the introduction to cybersecurity course. You might want to maybe skip that if you're already familiar with some basic cybersecurity best practices, like using multi-factor authentication, password manager, strong passwords, and so on and so on. But then that entire career path will also give you background in networking expertise, and then it will focus on your cybersecurity upskilling activities. Or if you want, you can just review the blueprint of the CCST cybersecurity certification exam. And if you are feeling that, oh, I already know all these things, maybe just take the CCST cybersecurity certification as the first step. That will validate that, hey, you are ready to enter this domain. And after that, feel free to jump into the ethical hacker course, go through it, build up your offensive security skills, and then get to the Cisco Certificate in ethical hacking on Cisco U using some of the CTF challenges.
Which leads me to a couple questions, Kate, that I'm going to ask you about the capture the flag exercises. Do I need any special subscription at Cisco U to do these capture the flag exercises?
No, you don't. They do cost $100, but there is no additional subscription required.
And I believe you also mentioned when you were discussing it earlier that you do have some tutorials and such on the background. I think some people are concerned, hey, I haven't done a capture the flag before, and I'm a little, haven't gotten there yet, a little bit nervous, not sure quite what to do. How would you recommend somebody who might be brand new into doing a capture the flag?
I mean, certainly the ethical hacker course will have teed you up nicely for it. I would say, so when you create your Cisco U account, so when you log in, you have a freemium subscription right at that point. There is no opt-in. It's just whatever's free shows up. And if it's a paid piece of content, it'll tell you. I think it just comes down to what kind of learning type you are. If you're someone that really is good at absorbing things via podcast, I heavily recommend that. And we do have everything sorted by subject matter. So in addition to content type, you can sort by subject matter, you can sort by certification, interests, your technical level. I just recommend, there's nothing wrong with we all have Netflix queues that are probably 100+ items long. There is nothing wrong with I am one of those who is guilty of it, that I just bookmark, and I'll come back to it. And if it's a I now do have that terrible habit of, if you don't grab me within like the first 6 minutes, I don't know, I might break up with you. So that's when you just unbookmark it and move on to the next. There's really no, risk. And I would just say, like, not having the depth of technical knowledge that my buddy Joseph here has, I probably am not the person that would give you specific content to consume. I just encourage you to use the filters and then, work with whatever is the best way for you to learn and pick from there. I don't know if the other guys have any other opinions.
I think you're right.
I think the Netflix one hit home a little bit.
Yeah,
we're all guilty of it. We all do it.
One last question here before we do wrap up. I know we just announced this ethical hacker certificate just a couple weeks ago, but some people are asking, are there going to be more certificate programs like this in the future?
We certainly are teeing it up for that. Yeah, this is our first one. We don't know what the second one will be, but we're pretty sure that there will be a second one.
Yeah, we're excited.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. I want to thank you all so much for bringing your knowledge to the Cisco community today. Just really well done. I do want to go around the room one more time. Garrett, I'll start with you. Is there anything else that you would like to tell our attendees before we wrap up here?
I mean, I kind of want to know how much extra guac Kate is ordering. 5 meals out of $100.
Hey, tip your server.
No, I've got nothing else. Thanks.
Thank you. Joseph, do you have anything else you would like to add before we wrap up?
I would just say that start your journey if you haven't started. We need more and more cybersecurity professionals. There's already like those 4 million unfilled jobs in the cybersecurity space. It doesn't mean that, just with the basic training, you will get immediately that well-paying job from the beginning, but you can start your career journey. And it's important to start the journey. So I do hope that the Cisco Certificate in ethical hacking will help you on the journey. And good luck. And please protect our digital lives.
And Kate, I'll let you bring it home.
Yeah, just teeing off of, well, first of all, acknowledging that math is not my strong suit, Garrett. So thanks for pointing that out. No, that's okay. I do want to tee off of what Joseph said. I am someone who actually pivoted into tech just in the last few years. I never worked in tech. I welcome anybody that wants to join the pipeline of talent that's coming in. It's important and it's invaluable to have so many different people coming in and protecting our digital lives, as Joseph said, but also representing so many different experiences and points of view. So I welcome you, whether you're coming in through Cisco Networking Academy or you're coming in through Cisco U, but thank you for joining us on this learning journey. We're really excited to have you.
Great. Thank you so much once again to Garrett, Kate, Joseph, and to the whole team for bringing your knowledge to the Cisco community today. If you do have an additional question for our presenters or about this session, we'll keep that Q&A portion open on Slido for a couple more minutes. For even more tutorials, demonstrations, and future webinars, please visit the Cisco Learning Network. You can follow up with any further questions, view the resources from today's event, also view its recording through the post-webinar discussion thread on the Cisco Learning Network. If you use that QR code to sign up for more info, you'll gain all the resources that we discussed today. Once again, we thank everybody for joining us today, and we will see you next time on the Cisco Learning Network.